and I'll find God in the midst of my raw deal. Watch this.
My name is Isaac Ruiz, and I have osteogenesis imperfecta, and I've broken over 100 bones. And when I was in my mom's stomach, the doctor said I was gonna die in there, but my pastor and my mom were praying together. They hoped I wouldn't die, and then I was able to get out without dying. But I had a lot of broken bones when I got out, but I was okay afterwards.
I was about 4.5, 5 months pregnant with Isaac, and we had went for what we thought was a normal ultrasound. And I remember the technician's face. Something didn't seem right.
So we went into the doctor's office, and they told us that he had 6 fingers, he had 6 toes, that his lungs weren't going to be strong enough to breathe, and he would die on conception. And they asked if we wanted to terminate. And we're like, no, God doesn't make mistakes.
I had 4 healthy births, and here we are serving God for 2 years. I didn't understand why, when we had made a commitment and we had decided to change our lives, that this was brought our way. I couldn't comprehend. I felt angry, I felt hurt, I felt confused. And I just remember walking out of there. I can remember it so clear, walking to the car. And immediately I called our pastor. And when she prayed with me, that peace, and even at that moment, I didn't know why it was happening, but I knew that everything was going to be okay.
When Isaac was born, he had a broken bone, but he was breathing fine, and his toes and everything were intact. He had 5 toes, 5 fingers, and he looked normal. My son, he has osteogenesis imperfecta, and what that means is that his bones aren't able to produce collagen, and the collagen is what gives the bones the strength. So it's like he can literally just move or roll a certain way and he could break a bone, or I could pick him up and he could break a bone. I mean, there's times where he's broken ribs in my hands.
Along his 10 years, he's had about 14 surgeries and over 100 broken bones.
This is one of the scars. This part was from the surgery. This was like an old scar, but this is where they cut into. This is because my rod's sticking out, but we're gonna get that fixed soon, right here. And then my legs, right here, and my other leg, right here, and right here.
Isaac asked me, like I said, Mom, why am I like this? Why can't I walk yet? It's very rare that he does that, but when he does, it cuts through my heart.
It's almost heartbreaking as a parent because he wants to interact with kids that are like his brother and sister, and he wants to feel as normal as possible. And whenever he feels like he can't be like that, it makes him come to the realization that, hey, is there something wrong with me? It's hard to contend with that, but we know we know that God has a plan for you. We know you're destined for something great and for something that's bigger than what we could ever dream.
The doctors said he wouldn't even be born, that he wouldn't live once he was born. They said he would never walk. But I tell him in the same way that we had the faith that he would be born and he would live the life that he's living, I stand on faith that he will walk. And because we stand on faith, we'll never give up.
I go through this because God wants me to go through this to inspire people about strength and how to handle things when they're in pain. I want to help people with their problems a lot. I want to help them go through it.
And I just imagine that, that when Isaac gets to heaven, there'll be stadiums upon stadiums of people that he had touched and that were saved because of him, that they look at him and they're like, oh, this is someone who's really going through something. But then they talk to him for about 5 minutes and they're like, oh, wait, he's not unhappy, he's smiling, he's not dwelling on his problems when he has every right to. And the fact that they can see something different inside of him that they wouldn't get from someone else, that he can reach so many more people and do so many more things than I could ever do for God. And so that's what I focus on.
Little Isaac's words. One day that body will be whole, maybe miraculously in this life or maybe in heaven. But here's a little boy who says, well, I just really want to help people that have problems. What would it look like for you to find God in the midst of your raw deal And then appropriately, as soon as possible, say, maybe my difficult situation will really be the door that would allow someone who's searching for God and may not even know it to be encouraged or find him.